Hello children, it's Mrs. Lee here. It's assembly number 8 and it's the week beginning the 6th of November 2023. How are you? Hope that you are okay. Me? Oh, thank you for asking. I'm feeling a little bit poorly at the moment. I've got a bit of a snotty nose, so I'm going to have to blow that. Remember, when I've blown my nose with my tissues, I need to put them in the bin and I will need to go and wash my hands so that I don't spread the germs. Anyway, come with me, let's do our routine. What's the time, Mr. Wolf? Well, I can see that the long hand, that's the minute hand, is pointing at the number 6. And I know that that means, yes, you're right, past. I can also see that the short hand, that's the hour hand, is in between the 10 and 11. So I put that all together and I get, that's right, 10:30. Now, our language of the month is staying the same because we're in November and Mrs. Turner would like us to learn Shona. And the way to say hi or hello in Shona is to say Mahauri. Now, I know that Nicole speaks Shona. Maybe some more of you do. If I'm not saying it correctly, come find me and tell me. Oh, thank you. Come with me. A Makaton sign, it changes every week, doesn't it? This is one that you know, though. We do this in lessons, don't we? It's a 2-part action, and it says to remember. To remember. You sign to remember. Now, why does Mrs. Lee want us to remember? Well, anything that we do in school is a good thing to remember. We get lots of facts, don't we? We learn lots of new skills in our school. But also, every now and then, we need to remember not just about ourselves, but about other people. Now, I don't know if you've seen my display. Are you ready? Did you see all those pictures? You might have noticed that they had lots of poppies on. Well, in the month of November, lots of people, lots of grown-ups and children decide to wear poppies because they want to remember about way back in the past, about people who died for us in wars. So if you would like to be one of those people that is remembering, you need to bring in your money, and in this little pot, you can put your money in and we will give you a poppy. Now, the reason that we think and we remember people by poppies is that in 1919, after the First World War, when they went back to have a look at the fields, there was nothing growing in the fields apart from, that's right, poppies. And that's why we now remember people by wearing them. Sometimes, though, it's such a long time ago, some of us might not know what we're talking about. So Mrs. Lee is going to show you a video now. It's about 4 minutes long, all right, and it will tell you why we are remembering people back in the past. Are you ready? Let me see your good listening ears. Let me see your good looking eyes. Super.
Remembrance Day. It's a very special day. It's Remembrance Day. Every year, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, people all around the world stop what they're doing to be silent for 2 minutes, to remember all those whose lives have been affected by conflict and war, and in particular, those who have died. The first Remembrance Day was held on the 11th of November 1919 to honor the lives of the soldiers, sailors, and airmen who died fighting in the First World War. Today, over 100 years later, Remembrance Day is about all people whose lives have been affected by war and conflict, including wars since the First World War. Remembrance Sunday is held on the second Sunday of November every year. Ceremonies are held all over the country to honor servicemen and women and the sacrifices they have made. The biggest ceremony takes place in London at the Cenotaph. There are parades, And members of the armed forces are joined by veterans and civilians, young and old, who have come to show their respect. And people also lay wreaths made from poppies. The wreaths can include messages expressing gratitude for the service people have given. Remembrance Day is a day about respect, reflection, and peace. And that's important for lots of people, young and old.
It's a day to remember all the sacrifices people have made.
Respect the ones who fought for your freedom and died for you.
You'll see lots of poppies on Remembrance Day. That's because after the First World War ended, poppies were one of the only flowers that grew on the battlefields after the fighting had stopped. So they became a remembrance and hope for a peaceful future. Today, people wear poppies in November to remember the sacrifice of past generations and also to show support for men and women in the armed forces. And the poppies people wear also help others. Volunteers like Bill sell them for donations, and the money goes towards helping war veterans who are in need. But wearing poppies and holding ceremonies aren't the only ways we can show respect. This school was bombed in World War I. So today, the pupils honour the memory of those who died here by celebrating peace. They make special posters and drawings, write poems.
I dream of a world of peace where people can live a life of ease. A world where there is no difference between rich and poor.
And reflect on what peace means to them. Remembrance Day is an important event in our country. And for lots of young people, it's important to remember the sacrifices that people have made to protect our freedom. Kira's great-great-granddad died fighting in World War I over 100 years ago.
It's incredible how many people sacrifice their life for us. It's honestly amazing, and I don't know how to thank them. But at the same time, he would have been thinking about me and my future, and I just want to honour him and remember him.
On Remembrance Day, we remember the sacrifices of others. But remembrance isn't just about the past. It's also about learning from history so that we can continue to live in peace in the future.
Did you see the video, children? Lots and lots of interesting facts on that video, wasn't there? I wonder if you saw anybody familiar. I know that my boy, he is nearly 14, and he will be on Remembrance Sunday dressing up, and he will be marching because he's a cadet, he's a naval cadet, and he will be marching near a church, and hopefully he might be one of those people that lays one of those poppy wreaths. Now I'm going to read you a story now. It's a really, really interesting story, so I need your good listening ears. The story is called Remembering, the Story of a Soldier. I've read this story before, children, but it's a nice one, isn't it? One day we went for a walk with our granddad. We found a lovely garden. And then a statue of a soldier. Grandad said it was for the men who had died in the war, and all around were garlands of poppies. Lizzie and I bought a poppy each, then we walked back to Grandad's house for tea. There was a picture of a soldier on the wall. Nanny said he was our great Uncle Albert, who was killed in the war. We went to bed, but we didn't go to sleep. We thought we heard a noise and crept downstairs. Someone was in the living room. Carefully, we opened the door. The room looked different. A man was sitting at the table. He looked like someone we knew. Lizzie said, "Do you live here?" "No," he said softly. "I lived a long time ago." "Can you stay with us?" "No, I can't. I have to go," said the soldier. And he opened the door and we followed him through. We were in a meadow. shadows like a field, children. There were some soldiers, some were playing cards and others were just waiting. Something seemed to be worrying them. Their officer was calling. Our soldier said to us, "Goodbye, Lizzie and Robert, you must go back now." The soldiers disappeared into the fog. Do you think's happening in this place? The sounds of firing and battle stopped, and for a long time we watched the empty town, waiting for the soldiers to return. But they never came back. Why do you think they didn't come back, children? Then we turned round and the field was full of poppies. I sat down and Lizzie picked a flower. What do you think these are, children? Suddenly, we were back at Grandad's and we gave the poppy to the soldier in the frame. Now that's a made-up story, isn't it? But I do know that lots of you will be buying poppies because I bet if you ask your grown-ups, there will be somebody in your family who was a soldier or maybe was in the Navy or in the Air Force, and unfortunately they lost their lives trying to make the world a better place for you and for me. And for that we need to thank them. And the way to thank them is to remember them. So, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, everybody across the world, and especially in the United Kingdom, will stop. And we will take some time just to think and to remember all those people that have helped us. Right then, children, we're going to finish there. I'm hoping that you will bring in some money to make this pot a little bit heavier for me. Lots of money needs to go in there, and I will look forward to seeing you wearing a poppy. Make sure you write your name on the back, though, just in case it falls off. They don't stay on very well. Right then, children, let's finish off with our prayer. You can close your eyes. I don't mind. You can keep them open, but you must say the words with me. Help me to do the things I should, to be to others kind and good, in all my work and all my play, to grow more loving every day. Amen. Okay then, children, have a lovely, lovely week. Bye.